Okay, so series one.
Series 1.
Number one is in a street fight or a MMA is different than sport. Sport can be like this, no problem. Street fight, you get knocked out really quick. So number one, protecting from knockout. Block here. Not here, because you can, yeah, boom. Not here, because it's down the middle. Bomb. So here and up. And you don't stay here long. Maximum 1/2 second. Next, I need to bring his torso to me, but I cannot open to reach because I will get punched. So I have to block and bring my knee up like that. His torso comes to me, and immediately I'm hugging with my head glued to his chest. Here is problem because he can separate, make space. So here, now I need to, right now I'm too low underneath him. I need to bring my body in line with his. So I'm going to use my hands on his shoulders to pull and my feet on the mat to push. Push and pull at the same time to slide up and shimmy and wiggle if you have to. Next, I need to trap one side of his body. That means his arm and his leg. Also, I always want to keep my head glued to the chest. If I come to here, he can put his forearm here and make separation and beat me up. So that's a problem. So always head to the chest, putting pressure onto the arm. If he tries to lift his arm to punch, I'm putting pressure. He cannot. I'm putting my weight. So next I need to trap this. This is okay in a sport jiu-jitsu. Sometimes it's a stronger grip, but it's very slow and very telegraphed. In this move, we're only going to quickly transition to the elbow with your middle finger on the elbow, and then the movement is boom, to buckle the elbow. So right away, without telegraphing which side, I'm gonna go foot and elbow at the same time. This is slowly, boom, but you're gonna do it fast in real life. And you just buckle the elbow, and simultaneously, I push up with my arm and my hips lift, boom, into this position. I wanna keep pressure down initially, so I don't get punched in the face, and when I'm ready to transition, I keep my head to the chest to avoid getting hit, and then I control his arms on the way up into this position. If he's keeping his legs locked, I'm gonna put my left knee, in this case my left knee, you can choose whichever knee, behind his butt to create a wedge position. Then, while his legs are locked, I'm going to transition my hips as far away from my knee as possible. But before I do that, I'm gonna transition my hands to his rib cage. Find the rib cage there as my sort of handle, especially if it's slippery or wet. I need to sink my palm of my hand underneath his rib cage. And when I do that, it has to be quick because I cannot be here getting punched in the face. So it has to be boom. But the movement slowly is to the rib cage. I'm coming up and my hips are moving far away and I'm pushing on the rib cage. Boom. Next is here. If you're fighting your enemy, it's okay to put a lot of pressure on the rib cage. You can even drive your shin right across his groin or the inside of his leg. For our training partners, we're always very gentle. So I put my hand on the side of the mat and I'm gonna lift my weight up and over and put my knee weight to here. Inside leg. Don't make the mistake of doing this or he'll lock up your back leg. It's a problem. Okay. So inside leg first comes through, and I don't want space here. I want to close the space. And then when I move my body, I want to roll, think of him as a tube of toothpaste, and I'm rolling it out. So all the pressure rolls in that way. This hand, it's going to come underneath his neck. This knee needs to come into this armpit. A lot of guys, they're protecting here. So when I transition and I roll my tube of toothpaste, and he's protecting, this knee has to come up and slide underneath. And I hug with pressure and tightness and secure the position. Most important here, when you first come to here, just secure the position. Hold it tight and squeeze. The guy on bottom has the problem. He's gonna expend his energy to work out of it. And you don't want to give him any opportunity to work out initially. Wait for him to work through his energy, and then you can transition. So if he's keeping a tight grip, I need to break that grip. So when I'm ready, I'm gonna transition one hand where the edge of my bone or my elbow is across his chin, and then I'm just gonna make maximum space between my elbow or bone and my shoulder here. So I just extend, and that opens the grip. Now I'm free to make attacks. The attack I choose, there's 3 good attacks from here. The attack I choose depends on the position of his arm. So right here I'm making a nice fulcrum under his elbow, and his arm's already locked straight. So I can easily just come my hand on top of his hand. Most important is the direction of the thumb. I need the pressure to go exactly opposite the direction of the thumb. So his thumb is perpendicular or opposite. So I'm across and I'm controlling the position of the thumb. And gently waiting for his tap, I'm applying the straight arm attack. If his arm is more bent like this, I can do Americana. So I bring my elbow next to his neck here, and I'm going to lift and put pressure like this without his arm there, so you can see how the pressure works. It's a lift with your elbow here as I rotate my body and pushing his arm or his hand towards his hips. And to add the maximum pressure, you do motorcycle grip. So you squeeze down like that to really pressure it. So lift, slide, motorcycle grip. But usually it doesn't take all that to get a nice tap. You just gentle, already he's tapping. Or if his arm is bent down, this becomes your Kimura attack. So here, if I go underneath and grab my own grip and I don't have any weight on his shoulder, his shoulder will simply lift up and I will not get the submission. So see his shoulders lifting up, there's no tap. I need to keep my weight into the shoulder, and it's an easy tap, easy submission. Hands like this, thumb on the outside. Again, without his hand there, I'm simply gonna lift and slide this way. Boom, that for the attack, okay? Now, let's say he's doing a really good job of hiding his arm, or maybe I'm struggling to break this grip or whatever. I'm going to make a transition. I'm gonna lean, I'm transitioning to mount. Now if I keep my hips in this position and I try to lift my leg, if you're really flexible, you might succeed. I'm not very flexible. So I'm gonna roll my body across his head here. Now I have all this space, and even though he's flexible here, I can take my free hand, pull it towards me, and step over easily. Now I'm in a mount position. From here, I can transition up. If he's keeping this nice head to chest, he's doing a good job. I'm gonna slide in here and make space. Now, I'm gonna attack Americana. Also, you can do strikes from here, but in this series, we're doing Americana. So, I don't want to have my body down and be fighting arm strength against arm strength, because if he's stronger, maybe I will not win that battle. So, I lock my arms in a straight position, and I use my weight and my abdominal strength to push his arm down. Same side hand goes to the same side elbow, opposite wrist to opposite wrist. Lock my arms out, use my body weight. Boom. This elbow drops into the crook of his neck here. And again, Americana, hand slides under the elbow, thumbs on the outside, not the inside. And I do that simple attack. Okay. Sometimes the guy is protecting his hands together, and when I go for an Americana, he's gonna grip together, and he's gonna make it difficult to attack the Americana. So still I go for the Americana, but when this arm moves to this side of his body, my knee comes up to block his elbow here. Secondly, my opposite hand on the attacking side is gonna go to his opposite wrist and jam it down next to his neck. This hand slides under his head, and I get a nice firm grip on the elbow. When I sit up, my left hand comes to his elbow, and when I sit up, I'm gonna pull like this, like I'm not using my arm strength. It's almost like a deadlift, single arm deadlift or kettlebell action. So here, boom. Now this is S-mount, great position for striking. If you use the knuckles, you might break them against his skull if you're hitting him, if you miss. So better is hammer fist, less likely to injure your hand. Straight to the nose, boom. If he tucks to defend, you can tuck his arm in there and squish it. Now he's got no defense, bam, bam. Or you can drop elbows into the temple. Or if you're being nice, or you just want to control him, it's a nice control position. You can look around. It's just a good position. It's very difficult for him to turn back onto his back because of this pressure you're applying here, and this is trapping his shoulders. A lot of times the striking itself will encourage him to want to change the position. The only way he can go is onto his stomach. And right now it's even difficult, but sometimes I like to give him a little bit of space to encourage him to think, I have an escape route. He's gonna move to his stomach. It's the worst way he can go. So I'm hitting him, I give him some escape, or if he's not moving himself, you can give him a little assist to force him onto his stomach. Now here, it's better if I get both my hooks, which is my heels under his legs, but if you have just one, it'll work, it's enough. This is back mount. Different than back control where you're underneath your opponent and you have their back. Back mount, you have control of the back, but you're on top. Here, especially if you're big or if you're good at doing those bridge type motion, I can lift my leg and pressure my hips down. And oftentimes that's enough to put a tapping pressure into my opponent, but it's also just a good securing position. From here, when I'm doing that, you might think to come down and do like a rear naked. The problem if you come down to do a rear naked from here, of course it can work very easily, but you're releasing the pressure off his back. So I prefer to keep the pressure with this kind of dolphin or bridge motion and simply lift the forehead. Use your two fingers, grab your finger here, and make a little gentle pressure to tap him out. Okay, that's it, series one.
Series 1.